Samdak Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Cambodia Growth Policy Dialogue. And today I have a great honor to have, I would say, my good friend, Ambassador Dominic Williams from the UK Embassy, and also another good friend, longtime friend, James Robert from KPMG. And the topic today will be more about the economic relation between Cambodia and UK, because we all know that the UK has played a big role, in the Cambodia economic development, among many other things. And I thought it'd be good to have the ambassador to come and share with us a bit the prospect of the future development, particularly in light of in a couple of years, we will graduate from a least developed country. And we also have a Vision 2050 that a bit longer term. But it's all about how do we deal with the partner, our development partner, our country, how do we engage with them. And so today I'm so pleased to have you. Dominic, I think we can cut the protocol. Dominic, welcome. So anyway, please share with us a bit how you see up to now our economic relation, our diplomatic, maybe we should start with the diplomatic relation first.
Yeah. Sure, well let me first just say, it's a pleasure to be here and a chance to talk about such an important part of our relationship. But I would say that I think the UK and Cambodia have a strong relationship. We don't have issues or challenges. It's a really positive relationship, and I think it's changed a lot over the years as Cambodia has developed. And I quite often think about it as being in sort of three stages. We had the point after the Paris Peace Agreement when Cambodia had a problem with security, which everybody knows, coming out of a very difficult period of conflict. And as a Security Council member, the UK invested a lot of effort in supporting peace and security here. And that's when our work on things like clearing landmines started. And that was a big focus for our relationship in the early 90s. But then as Cambodia became more peaceful, we could start working on development. And that's when a lot of our other NGOs came in to start working on healthcare, on education, and our development partnership started up. But then as Cambodia has become more prosperous, it's had this phenomenal growth rates over the last 20 years or so. That created opportunities for companies like KPMG to come into Cambodia. Our businesses started coming in the sort of early to mid 2000s. And now I would say that it's a real relationship of equals, where we're looking for places where we can work together, we can partner, and looking for just different ways to take the relationship forward.
It's quite interesting from your sort of like a spectrum from a peace process to the reconstruction, the development process. Now we are sort of arrive at the equal partnership. I like that because our economic relation, particularly our trade, is quite good. And so perhaps you can mention a bit how are we doing in the area of trade.
So the trade has grown enormously over the last 20 years, and I was actually a little bit surprised before I came to Cambodia. I sort of assumed that the UK-Cambodia relationship wouldn't be as big as it is, but actually it's over £1 billion a year. And last year we were the 8th largest export market for Cambodia, and I think this year currently we're the 7th largest export market for Cambodian goods. So a really significant market for Cambodia. Sadly, we don't sell as much goods into Cambodia as Cambodia sells to us, so it's very much weighted in Cambodia's favour. But we're comfortable with that. We would expect that where Cambodia is at its stage of development. And actually we see trade as one of the ways that we can make a real contribution. Like I said, a contribution that is equal. It's not donor giving things away. This is Cambodia producing things that are useful for people in the UK, producing them at a good price for UK consumers, and we want to help Cambodia grow through that. So we've got things like our developing countries trading scheme that allows products from Cambodia to enter the UK market without any tariffs, without any quotas, as a way to encourage exports from Cambodia and to make them more affordable for UK consumers. So we see trade as a really important part of our contribution to Cambodia's growth.
With trade, I mean FDI, and with FDI, we have James. KPMG is you are more the auditor of.
I think that's a common perception, Sapana, that KPMG is the auditor, but we believe that we're a piece of the soft infrastructure in Cambodia. We're an enabler for the banks, for the insurance industry. We provide confidence for companies to come to Cambodia, knowing that they'll be well advised, that they're going to have the right advice and be given the right opportunities to work and be successful here. And we're very grateful to the Cambodian government for the strong relationship and the support that we receive from you to help us in doing that.
Well, Ambassador Dominic, I think you mentioned about the trade aspect, which is quite a positive picture. But I want to fast forward a bit to 2029 when we graduate from a least developed country status. Certain of our trade preference will definitely disappear, but do UK have some grace period?
Yeah, so actually, I mean, our developing countries trading scheme offers different levels of access to the UK market. So for least developed countries, you have what is called a comprehensive level of access, which is 99% of product lines, 0% tariff, 0% quota. But actually, we have other stages, which normally when countries graduate from being a least developed country, they move on to what's called enhanced preferences, which still covers, I think it's 82% of product lines, which actually cover all of Cambodia's main export categories to the UK at present. So there won't be a cliff edge. There is a transition period for the comprehensive preferences too. They should last for, I think, 3 years after graduation. But even once you come off those, we will still be offering preferential access to the UK market, to Cambodia. So we feel quite positive about that.
Oh, good. James, I mean, when we, graduate to become a developing country, I mean, a lot of development financing will have to change. Infrastructure financing, all that sort of thing. What is your view on the new facility, for example, that in this case the UK could play, for example?
Well, I'm really excited that you've brought that up, Sapana. And it's a very opportune time because we are in the very early stages of launching securitization in Cambodia. This is a great tool for financing of growth, financing specific projects, and for funding Cambodia's pensions industry and new industries that are going to drive Cambodia's growth even faster. But it creates a new space for the UK and Cambodia to engage together in, for example, using UK securities to provide risk mitigation, to provide hedging, to provide a variety of solutions to the new problems that Cambodia and modern Cambodia is going to face as it emerges and as it continues to grow and expand and embrace these new technologies and new products that are coming along.
Well, for me, it's quite clear that the UK is considered one of the country that we look up quite a bit from many different aspects, finance for one, because I think you are also helping us on the green financing, the green bond. I saw you sign an MOU with the Ministry of Economy and Finance on that, financing green infrastructure. These are something quite exciting in the context of this climate change, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, for how I look at it, I think I'm trying to think of ways that we in the embassy can support Cambodia's preparations for LDC graduation. And for me, the sweet spot is the areas where we've got an offer on our development side, where we've got an offer on our commercial side, and it's really in the interests of Cambodia. And financial services really is very much in that sweet spot. Cambodia needs to diversify the sources of finance that are available to invest in everything that will promote growth, whether that's education, healthcare, infrastructure, new industries. Capital is needed to invest in those things, to keep growth and to keep it at the rate that it's been over the last few years. So we want to really help in that area. We've got a lot of development programs that do things like work on green bonds and help develop those as instruments that can be used. We've got a fantastic export credit agency, UK Export Finance, that can be used to invest in everything from sort of infrastructure to trade as a way of financing commercial activity that involves UK companies. And of course, the UK is one of the leading financial centres of the world. and our financial services industry is second to none. So actually, as these instruments come into place, the securitization that James talks about, the opportunities for British companies to come and invest here, set up new businesses that create jobs for Cambodians, and generally, the financial services pays well. So we're talking about, higher quality jobs for more Cambodian people through UK investment, which I think is really exciting because the work in the financial sector brings all of those things together.
Well, I mean, you mentioned infrastructure, which is definitely a must for a country that is emerging. Let's face it, Cambodia is a young country. 30 years post-war, it's a young country, so you need all this development. But the exciting thing now is that our new airport will be operational in a couple of months. And guess who is behind in the design? Foster. Yes. Foster and partner. I mean, it's quite impressive, the type, the quality of their services. Yeah. And you have other service sector company who play that role also in Cambodia economic development.
Yes, I mean, actually, the UK is the second largest exporter of services in the world. It's the key part of our economy. It's the part of the economy that James and KPMG work in. So it is one of our real strengths. And I mean, really proud of actually what our architecture firms have done here. I don't think everybody knows, but
they did also.
They did, yeah. Vatanat Capital Tower was Farrell's. Foster and Partners work at the new airport. I mean, I really can't wait to all of your viewers get a chance to see the airport because it is stunning. Yes. And it is going to make such an impact on people who arrive to Cambodia for the first time. It will tell them that they've come to a modern, dynamic, exciting country with a vision for the future. And that's what British architects do. That's what you get with British expertise, a real statement of what modern Cambodia is.
James, any other perspective on the sector, the service sector, for example?
I think, as His Excellency Dominic has outlined, the opportunities that are being created today and the new industries that are coming online in Cambodia mean it's a very exciting time to be a young Cambodian. What I wouldn't give to be a 20-year-old Cambodian today. This must be one of the most exciting times economically in Cambodia's entire history. The new industries, the products, the services that are being provided by Cambodia now are creating jobs that are higher paid, more interesting, more sophisticated, and that's got to excite anybody that is a young Cambodian that's about to enter the workforce.
Well, I look at how the country have evolved, right? I mean, we start as a garment, footwear industry, and then we start to move to other industry. But I recall a few years ago, UK has been very forthcoming with their support to design a roadmap on automotive and electronic sector. And I think thanks to that, we have like 8 automobile assembly, electronics. So I mean, these are the sort of high-level advisory ideas, services to guide us in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think, our technical assistance that we provided, so that's one example where we worked with the government, because it was a collaboration. This isn't about the UK doing something or saying this is the way it should be done. We worked hand in glove with the government on those roadmaps, bringing in experts from the UK who could give some advice. And we're really pleased to see it pay off. I should say, though, I think the garment industry is still really crucial and important for Cambodia, and we're really proud that we've got British investment in that sector with Dewhurst, a really big factory here. And I think I've met some of the garment workers when I've had a chance to visit Dewhurst. They're proud to work in a British factory, which gives good working conditions, pays well, treats the staff well, and we're proud that British businesses are here because they have those high standards. And as James said, I think the British investment here is part of that soft infrastructure that just raises the bar for other companies operating in Cambodia, and means that workers have better conditions, and it means that the sort of wider impact that businesses make, the sort of corporate social responsibility, also tends to be higher too.
I want to go back a bit on infrastructure because, again, I believe that you need a good infrastructure to build the country to, sort of like leapfrog in the future. James, I mean, in the area of infrastructure, how do you see, what are the areas that you think Cambodia should invest, should put the effort to attract investment in that sector?
It's a difficult question to answer, Your Excellency. I think there is so much opportunity in Cambodia, and there are so many different ways to be successful. I don't think there's one answer to that question. There's a values question that says, how can Cambodia support its growing private sector with better infrastructure, and where do we have the biggest impact? And I think logistics is a big differentiator for Cambodia in that space. $1 invested in infrastructure today will yield $1 million in due course. By improving our infrastructure, we create a better landscape for our private sector to build more factories, to create more jobs, and to create more value in Cambodia. Our energy is quite expensive, but we are blessed with a very robust energy strategy and a very high percentage of renewables. So, there is a balance there in that Cambodia is one of the countries that's leading globally in terms of energy mix. 62% renewable energy. So I think continuing down that path is something that creates a lot of equity in Cambodia's story and a lot of opportunity for Cambodian businesses in the future.
In the green energy, the UK have a strong role in that, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the areas that we've prioritised is working on infrastructure. And as James said, that's partly looking ahead to Cambodia's graduation. And your point that although the UK will continue to offer generous access to our market, that isn't necessarily the same for all of Cambodia's export markets. So how does Cambodia remain competitive? It needs to bring down the other factors, the other costs of production. Energy is one of those. Transport is another, which is one of the reasons why we think investment in infrastructure in those areas is going to help Cambodia remain competitive and compete. And so green energy, as James said, I mean, it's an obvious thing in Cambodia. You have abundant sunlight, and you have other resources that can also be harnessed for renewable energy, and that will be cheaper in the long run. So we are looking at how we can bring in British green energy solutions to Cambodia, both through our development finance investment. So we've invested in things like solar water pumps, for example, for irrigation systems for farmers. We've got that already through British International Investment, our development finance institution. But we're also looking at what our commercial companies can do in terms of things like battery storage solutions, because one of the challenges, as you know, with renewable energy is that, well, particularly solar, when the sun goes behind a cloud or it's nighttime, you don't get the energy. So you need a storage solution for that. So that's one of the areas where we're looking at what our commercial sector can do. And also working very closely with the government on a proposed green special economic zone.
Where it's exciting.
Yeah, so this is a sort of a big project that we've got quite far in our work in collaboration with the Ministry of Economy and Finance, but we're looking at creating a special economic zone which builds in renewable energy, the circular economy when it thinks about how it manages waste and its environmental impact, right from the design stages, so different to the existing economic zones. And we think a lot of manufacturers in advanced economies, they want that now. They're looking to green their supply chain. They've taken on net zero commitments. And so therefore, this is a factor for them when they're looking at where to produce. And we think that if Cambodia can have a world-leading green special economic zone, that will be a huge source of competitive advantage.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because nowadays, as the world moves forward, of course, climate change matter. I mean, we only have one Earth. Huh? I mean, let's face it, we all have a responsibility to contribute to preserving that Earth. And renewable energy is definitely one area. So I'm glad that you're involved in that. I want to look forward a bit to Cambodia Vision 2050, which I happen to be the vice chair there with Excellency Wong Say Wisat. We're working with the World Bank on planning a strategy to make sure that Cambodia will attain a high income country by 2050. It's a challenging task, clearly, not a walk in the park. But one area that is very important is education. And I see UK as a great provider of quality education. what is your experience so far? You know, being an ambassador here, you must have received a lot of visa application to go study there, you know.
So, I mean, it's one of the areas of work that I'm really proud of that the embassy does here. And again, I think it's one of the areas where we see education as being important for a number of dimensions. One is that actually I think British education contributes to Cambodia's development, you know, helps grow the skills here in Cambodia that will provide the workforce for the economy of the future. So having the skills, the technical skills, the skills in different areas that are not currently part of the economy now is one of the areas where we're contributing. It's a really big part of our commercial relationship too. We have a huge number of British education businesses here, and just in the 3 years that I've been here, we've had 4 new British schools open in Phnom Penh. So we have King's School Vatanakville, we have the Shrewsbury International School Phnom Penh, we have this September opening Reigate International Grammar School, and also this September Bromsgrove International School. Yeah. So those are all really high quality British schools that have open premises here.
Any university?
And yes, and last September we had De Montfort University that launched here. So they've already had their first full academic year, moving into their second year this September. And this September we've also got the University of Teesside, who are launching in partnership with Springboard for Education. So there are now 2 British universities that are offering a full UK degree. So no different to what you get going to the UK.
Amazing.
But you can stay here in Cambodia with your family, close to your culture, and of course, you know, the fees are lower and more competitive than they would be if you were studying in the UK. But I should say, we're still keen to have Cambodians go to the UK, and we've seen, again, over the last 5 years, the numbers roughly doubling of Cambodians studying in the UK. And we're really proud that you know, bright young Cambodians choose the UK for their higher education, because we have universities that specialise in all subjects. And when you look at the university global rankings, whatever discipline you're looking at, UK universities are right in the top 10 in every subject.
Well, our Prime Minister is a graduate from Bristol.
Exactly. And
his wife also.
Yes, First Lady from the London School of Tropical Medicine. So, so we're very proud of them, of course, as UK alumni. But also there are many, many people I meet every day who've studied in the UK and tell me how great an experience that was for them. So we're proud to be bringing that here so that more Cambodians can access that.
Well, you know, to me, when you are developing a country, of course you need a big army, whatever you can for security reason. But to change a country, you need not an army of intellectual, but a few good people who are well trained, well educated, well exposed. They can really transform the economy. They can really change the policy for the better. So I think I see, of course, last time I have a meeting with your colleague from, Derek Gibb from Australia. I think Australia and UK are, you know, 2 basically source of provider education. James, you want to?
I think if I may, we shouldn't underestimate how quickly the impact of these institutions coming into Cambodia will be felt by our private sector. We've already got our first generation of students from De Montfort University who are now coming to KPMG.
Oh, wow.
They're starting internship programs, they're collaborating with the private sector. The impact of these partnerships is already being felt. We've got young Cambodians who are coming into KPMG for the first time from a British university in Cambodia. It's a really exciting time.
So that's good. I mean, you know, having a good education is a prerequisite, you know, for a good job, of course. And the thing about Cambodia, we speak, most of us in the city speak English. So that it's a major game changer when you try to attract investment for that matter, you know.
I would suggest that we have some of the best English language skills in the region. Certainly top 1 or 2.
And I have to say to your viewers, this is a problem for me because I spent 18 months studying Khmer.
Say something.
Soខ្ញុំបានសិក្សាភាសាខ្មែរ18កាយនៅចក្រភពអង់គ្លេសមុនពេលខ្ញុំមកដល់កម្ពុជាហើយនៅទីនេះជនជាតិខ្មែរទាំងអស់និយាយភាសាអង់គ្លេសល្អមែនទែន And in Phnom Penh, you can get in a tuk-tuk and your driver will speak really good English. You can go to the supermarket and talk to the clerk and they will speak really good English. So my chance to practice Khmer is not as much as I would like.
Well, Dominic, I mean, you were one of the few ambassadors who took the time to learn our language, which is great. And that's why I would say you're one of the most, if we do a ranking, you're probably one of the most popular ambassador in Cambodia. Yeah.
It's certainly very hard to be on a stage with His Excellency Soksapana and His Excellency Dominic Williams, two of the most beloved, famous celebrities in Cambodia.
I think, James, for that you earn your lunch. But back to our discussion, what in looking forward for the next 10 to 15 years, how do you see the prospect of growth, and what you see the challenge that Cambodia will go through from the development perspective?
Well, I think that actually across the world we are all facing similar challenges at the moment, that the geopolitical environment has become quite difficult. And a lot of countries are changing their attitudes to trade. We're seeing an increase in sort of protectionism. We're seeing challenges in the multilateral trading system, which you will know very well, with talk of WTO reform. And I think Cambodia and the UK, it's one of the things that really unites us is we are both very open, liberal economies.
Yes.
We both believe in free trade. Both of our economies are very heavily trade focused. The UK, in our case, I think our trade is about 60% of GDP each year, and that's much higher than many of our competitor economies. So we believe that open trade with the world is really, really important. But navigating the tensions over the next few years, given with what's going on, I think is a challenge for everybody. And I think, for us in the UK, it's one of the reasons why we are keen to have a broad and diversified set of trading partners. We don't believe in focusing just on, one or two. Obviously, the EU, the US and China are the biggest trading partners for the UK. But we want to have diversified relations, including with countries like Cambodia, because it gives us resilience.
Yeah.
It means that, when there are the ups and downs in some of those trading relationships, that we can weather those storms. And I know that's very much the approach of the Cambodian government too, is to have a diversity of trading relationships. And we've been very fortunate this year in that we've managed to secure trade deals with the US. We were the first country to do that, which, obviously these things work in both directions. So they got what they wanted out of it. We got what we wanted out of it. So that was positive. We've had a new economic partnership with the EU, which was also agreed in May this year. And we had a free trade deal with India. So we are looking at thickening our trading relationships right across the world, because we recognise that there are quite a few challenges in the trading system today.
Well, I mean, from the trading perspective, I also know that UK is the latest and the first to accede to the CPTPP.
Yes.
Which is great news, because Cambodia now we are we try to analyze the pros and cons of joining the CPTPP. And this is something that it's very dear to me, because as a trade negotiator, I look at the CPTPP as another, I would say, the second wave of opportunity once we join, when we graduate from the LDC, status in 2029, and we plan to go to UK also for that. So. Lesson learned. You got to learn from the best. So yes, indeed, I agree with you that the trade landscape have dramatically changed, and we have to diversify. Jane, you have anything on trade issue?
I think Cambodia's role will change, and where Cambodia sits as in the global context is going to change. It's going to be participating in the CPTPP, hopefully. Its treaty networks will expand. I understand that there are some tax treaties that are already being discussed with certain European nations, Dominic. So I think, for me, that is where we can expect a lot of progress. And That also forms part of Cambodia's soft infrastructure and facilitates trade around the world by enabling and making that trade as efficient as possible. As we eliminate tariffs, as tariffs are negotiated, reduced, and trade becomes more efficient, globally, everybody benefits.
Well, this is an area that I have to say that the UK has been quite forceful to help build the capacity of our Cambodian exporter. Because I have one student, well, I won't say student, she's no more a student, but 25 years ago she was my student, and she was exporting mango to the UK. Very successful woman, and she said that she had technical assistance from the UK to help them go through the process to meet the SPS, the standard, and then now she secured good market access to the UK. But I'm sure that this program, you have worked with many companies.
Yes. So we have, as well as I mentioned, the Developing Countries Trading Scheme, which is the sort of system that applies to all companies, the tariff-free access. But what we realised is particularly small and medium enterprises were struggling to work out how to make use of that. Yeah. So to complement the DCTS, we have a programme called Trade for Development.
Trade for Development.
And that basically is exactly what you've described, Sipana. It is technical assistance to small and medium enterprises to help them access the UK market. Yeah. And we particularly here worked with agro processors because, of course, the garment industry, the footwear industry, the bicycle industry, they're already exporting successfully at scale to the UK. Where we saw an opportunity where there wasn't as much going was in processed agricultural products. And I mean, I'm really proud of the impact it's made because we've now got companies that have secured their first orders in the UK, which is a really big thing. I was in Stung Treng a couple of months ago, and there's a cashew nut company there that do a fantastic flavoured cashews. They had their first order from the UK of 5 tons, and that's a really big thing for a small business based in one of the provinces in Cambodia, and it's a great business, by the way. But we've also got people exporting at scale in the agro industry now. So ibis rice. Is available nationwide in the UK, and I know are in talks with a major UK supermarket chain. And Lidl, which is at the other end, so the Ibis is a premium rice. Lidl is a budget supermarket in the UK, but their own brand rice also comes from Cambodia. Wow. So, Cambodian products now are becoming more and more available in the UK, and we're really pleased that some of the work that we're doing is helping people take that first step into the UK market.
Yeah, because right now, as we are mapping our export diversification strategy for the next 5 to 10 years, it's quite clear that the focus of the Cambodian government is on value extraction, value addition on our raw commodity. Take, for example, cashew. We produce 800,000 metric tons, but we export raw to Vietnam 700,000 metric tons. And now we want to put more energy to process. And that's why I'm so keen about this green zone, economic zone there, because in cashew there's a lot of, aside from the nut, they can turn the apple into a renewable energy, that sort of thing. So this is an area that we will work quite closely with the UK, particularly to help SME who have potential product to export to the UK. Whitworth visited us a few months ago, and they're very keen to buy cashew from Cambodia. But again, their condition, you got to meet our standard. And standard is everything nowadays when it comes to food, right? So this is something that we count on the UK to continue to support the small, medium-sized enterprise, because at the end of the day, most of the Cambodian company are SME.
No, I mean, I think you're right. Standards are really important, but also consistency of supply. Because most of the big buyers in the UK, they want to buy at volume, and they want it reliably to be available. And so that's the thing. It's getting the quality and the quantity, and that's what will help Cambodia sell in a really big way in the UK.
James, any comment on that?
I think we shouldn't underestimate how much of a success what we've just described is. The UK has some of the highest standards in the world for food products. Cambodians are now exporting into one of the highest quality markets for food products. If we can serve that market, we can serve the world. Cambodia has huge tracts of land, huge amounts of land availability, a government that is very supportive for the development of the agricultural industry, and we have a white space where there are almost unlimited opportunities for companies to come in and capitalize and create the word that you used, value, arguably the most important and underused word in business.
Well, I mean, James, I appreciate the fact that UK is a high-end market.
Yeah.
If you can break into the UK market, you can break to the European market. You can break to the Japanese market.
Yep.
You can break to Australia market. So this is
exactly
a good indicator of future direction on how we should focus our energy, particularly in the context of the reciprocal tariff from the US. We have to start to diversify. But to diversify is not going to happen overnight. So, but we need to plan now. We need to look at the success, story of the existing company and try to scale up.
Yeah.
Try to emulate their success story, and how do we scale up? Yeah.
I think the really exciting thing for me that I'm seeing in today is the approach that the government is bringing to the table. Cambodia is a developing country. Everybody knows that Cambodia has had its challenges in the early days in the post-conflict period, but we're now seeing a government that is really engaging with the private sector, that is receptive to feedback, that takes on board the issues. The UK government has set up the Joint Trade Investment Forum, dedicated to feeding back to the Cambodia on what the private sector needs, and the private sector is responding. We are seeing changes in legislation, changes in the approach from the government to address the needs of the private sector, and that is what is going to grow our opportunities and bring in more value creators into Cambodia's economy to capture these opportunities.
Well, I was very happy to join your first or second, right? Trade and investment delegation to UK, which is awesome. And I have an opportunity to meet the big company like Saatchi and Saatchi, for example. I'm thinking Cambodia we have to rebrand. We have to look at what is our, because let's face it, Cambodia, we're doing a lot of things, but the one thing we're not good at talking. We don't know how to rebrand. We don't know how to brand ourselves. Of course, we have Angkor Wat, we have, Siem Reap. But, the world is not all about...
You say that very humbly, Sapana.
Yeah.
These are assets that we should be shouting about in Cambodia.
I know, but then there are other things. We have the ocean, we have the island, we have eco-tourism, we have so many other things. But, when I met Saatchi and Saatchi in London, they show me that they have helped country right after COVID, right? I mean, Iceland, my God, Iceland engaged them after COVID when there's nobody travel, and they boost up tourism in Iceland. Australia also.
Yes. I believe they had 21 billion engagements with their campaign for Iceland.
I don't think we have that much. but
we have a lot more to talk about than Iceland.
Yeah.
Cambodia is a much more exciting place.
Like, for example, now we have the Cambodia Tourism Board, and I'm suggesting that the board should engage them, to talk to them. Maybe we don't have 100 million, but, you can work with the budget. Yeah.
But it is the common refrain that we hear, and I know that, James, you'll hear it too, when we have somebody from the UK who comes to Cambodia for the first time, their constant message is, this is not what I was expecting. They've got the idea that Cambodia is somehow being frozen in time, and that it's the same now as it was in the 90s. It's not. And I just wish we could have every person in the UK standing on the roof terrace of the Vatinak capital town and looking around modern Phnom Penh. Because when people do that, and I've done that with business people visiting here, they're like, this is amazing. This city is amazing. It is dynamic. It is modern. It is exciting. Last year we had the Gumball Rally come through, Sam.
Amazing.
And when they came
Is
to...
that also a British innovation?
It is British, yes. So the CEO's British, and it's started in the UK. So I met him when he first came here because he was sort of looking at how to set the route up. And that was his impression. He was like, "This. We thought that Phnom Penh was going to be like a provincial backwater where we wouldn't be able to do anything big. And actually, it was one of the biggest legs on their tour. Wow. Crowds turned out, were excited. They had amazing musical performances. And their tour that year went through Ho Chi Minh City, Phnom Penh, Siem Reap, Krabi, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, and Singapore. And Phnom Penh was one of the biggest nights out of all of that tour. So that sort of shows you that, you know, Phnom Penh and Cambodia have come a long way from the popular perception in the UK, and I just wish we could change that.
Yeah. No, I think...
I think this, I apologise for interrupting,
go ahead.
I think this is part of what is really important in Cambodia's next step, is how do we engage with the world?
Yeah.
Some of the things that Cambodia is starting to do, and we're seeing the government now opening up, being receptive to advice from outside parties, and we're seeing the government engaging with the private sector. Fantastic. Singapore was built on bringing in the best advice and the best in class to develop the country to where it is today. Cambodia is starting to do that. If Cambodia can continue on that journey in terms of bringing in the people to continue that development and support the government in what they're doing, the sky is the limit for Cambodia.
You know, in my trip to London, I met with Foster, the Foster partner. So we get to know each other, and then when they visit me, and they give me a tour of the airport, it's amazing. Second visit, he says, you know, we want to look at other projects that are worthwhile. So because in Cambodia, you Phnom Penh anyway, you need a good tourism product. And what they had in mind is to look at what other project they can do. And what they did is that they prepare a nice, it's more than brochure, it's a sort of expo, right? And he say, can you pass on to the Prime Minister? So I did. And long and behold, I mean, I shouldn't tell you this, but the PM wrote back to me. He said he was so impressed. He wrote by hand, I'm so impressed. Congratulations, Uncle. The quality of what Foster have presented to them, right? Of course, it's his prerogative to push a project. I won't mention that, but it'd be if it go through, it'd be a nice, awesome. Not as big as the airport, but it will link to the airport.
Well, I mean, I have to say that one of the things that I do like about our architect firms is, because I hope that everybody knows, I really love Cambodian culture, and I think Cambodians should be proud of the heritage and the fantastic culture this country has. So there's nothing worse than sort of, you know, foreign architects coming in and implanting the London skyline onto Phnom Penh. Actually, what Foster's have done at the airport, and which British architects tend to do, is incorporate local cultural elements. So the airport has this sort of lattice ceiling that is inspired by fishing baskets used in traditional villages in Cambodia. So bringing in that sort of local culture, being sensitive to the environment they're working in, it becomes a real collaboration. It's a sort of British-Cambodian fusion rather than just an identikit airport that you could have in London or Manchester or whatever.
Too much time with the architects, Dominic. You're talking like a creative now.
The brown coffee, the design, I think is a seed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The Browns always have fantastic designs for their buildings.
Ideas, and it sort of mingle well with the main architecture side, right? Wow. So I would say, I mean...
Well, maybe that's a great, successful brand we could export to the UK. So maybe we should encourage Browns to expand into the UK.
Why not reverse investment?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you say this, but I won't mention names. I don't know if they're sort of what would want me to mention it, but there is a coffee chain here that is genuinely interested in expanding into the UK, and that's what we want to see. Actually, we want to see Cambodian businesses investing in the UK, opening operations there, because also I think that's how Cambodia gets that name recognition.
Yeah.
We want there to be Cambodian restaurants. We want people to see made in Cambodia on products. We want people to be able to buy Cambodian things, because that breaks down the barrier. It makes Cambodia more familiar. Yeah. And when people have familiar, why don't I go and expand my business to Cambodia? Why don't I try and trade with Cambodia? Yeah. We want to make Cambodia feel closer to the UK, and all of those little bits of Cambodia investment, the more products we get there, the more companies that are going there, the closer we become, and that just opens up new opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's all boiled down to people contact. I mean, let's face it, the more, and that's why, the more students graduate from UK or from Phnom Penh, from a UK institution, the better, because it's all about exposure. Yeah. When you are submerged.
I'm a little bit worried now. Some of these young Cambodians that are coming out of university are incredibly smart and incredibly good. They're going to take my job.
No, but that's how I see nation building. Yeah. For me, I look back. I came back to Cambodia in '93 when the UN there, and when Foster team invite me to the airport, right? I couldn't help but to say something to him, to say, look, 30 years ago, my airport was bullet-ridden, half-burned, because when I landed, that's what my impression of the Phnom Penh Pokitong airport. Now it's hard to imagine that in less than one generation, in 30 years, we are building an airport, top 10 or something like this in the world. Now that is a major progress, that we can achieve as a young nation, post-war young nation.
I mean, I don't underestimate how much these things make an impact on people, and also how much they inspire national pride. We were lucky enough through the kindness of OCIC to be able to take the embassy team on a tour of the airport. And one of my Cambodian colleagues who works in the embassy said to me, I'm getting goosebumps. And she showed me her arm and she had goosebumps run. And this was just because I couldn't believe that we would have something like this in Cambodia, because it's just so spectacular and makes such an impact on you. And your experience is very similar to the one that she had. It's almost inconceivable that we would be at the point we are. And that's a testament to how far Cambodia has come. Cambodia has done that. That's Cambodian people who've got Cambodia to where it is today. So I just have to say hats off to this country.
This is what I talk about when I say it must be incredibly exciting to be a young Cambodian today. You've got access to incredible education. You've got an economy that is amongst the fastest growing economies in the world. You're positioned at the center of global growth in Asia. What a time to be a young Cambodian.
Sabana, can I throw a question back at you?
Sure.
Because we haven't talked about it, which is unusual given how long we've been talking, is ASEAN.
ASEAN.
And how Cambodia sees its integration with ASEAN as being part of its future strategy. Because that's an area where the UK is a new kid on the block. We joined as a dialogue partner in 2022. And so that's an area of cooperation with Cambodia that's quite new for us, but one that we're really keen on.
Well, I would say, I have to look back, back to 1999, when I was asked to join the government as a Secretary of State at that time.
The first time.
So that was 26 years ago. I'm not telling you my age. So, and then a few months later, Cambodia joined ASEAN, right? And after that, a few years later, we joined WTO. So ASEAN for us is the first step toward reintegration into the region and WTO, into the world, right? One thing about the strength of ASEAN is more the economic. And we all know that they're not so good, so strong on the political, right? Because by default, it's a sovereign state. So it's a bit difficult to coordinate 10 sovereign states, right? Soon 11. Okay.
The EU is a good testament to that.
Yeah. But in the area of economic and social, I think they're doing well. They're doing well. It's a slow-moving process, but that's how they survive for so long. The ASEAN way, you know. And if I can be a bit controversial, had the UK or the EU follow the ASEAN way, you wouldn't have Brexit. No, but seriously, it's a market that is growing. It's a combination of small states, with the exception of Indonesia and Vietnam, of course. But otherwise, we are small enough that we are not a threat to anybody. But combined together, we're big enough to be a strong economic force. I think we're now number 4 something, you know, as a grouping, right? And now we have ASEP, which is the sort of like the brother or the sister of the CPTPP, right? So in terms of economic, the strength is there.
Yeah.
Is there, quite clear. Yeah.
I mean, for us as well as a market, because I think I'm right in saying that ASEAN has more population than the EU.
Yes.
So, you know, actually the number
about to be, I think.
the number of people living here is enormous. But I do think that it's
600 some million.
Yeah, so it's huge. And I think that there is real ambition.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting projects, some of which we're trying to support from the UK side. But one of the ones that I find really fascinating, and I think would be really amazing to work on, is the ASEAN power grid. You know, the idea of joining up power grids, and that has huge opportunities for Cambodia, because Cambodia could export solar energy right across ASEAN. You know, Singapore, I know, is very keen, given its geography. It needs to import power, and you can just see the benefits.
We're working on that. Laos, Cambodia, submarine cable to Singapore.
Indonesia as well, I believe, yeah.
So I think, well, I would say ASEAN as a bloc has so many different things, so many different strengths, right? Unfortunately, from the academic analysis, we tend to focus, as diplomat, we tend to focus on one side, but we tend to not to say so much about the other side, the economic, you know, when you, let's face it, I cover ASEAN for 12 years with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we heard quite many times they say, oh, ASEAN is an elitist group. You know, you guys have a summit in a big hotel, foreign affairs meeting there. But I say, look, it's more than that. Because a lot of nitty-gritty work are done at the operational level, which unfortunately the media don't cover. But look, I mean, the fact that we have a visa-free, that I can hop on the plane to go to Singapore without a visa. How long do you think Ministry of Interior have worked that with the other 10 countries? How many years before they could get that? But unfortunately, it's not a topic that local media would want to waste time. But they want to cover ASEAN, you know, for instance, a meeting, the summit, the gala, that sort of thing. But economic strength for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, the summits do achieve something. I mean, it's one of the things that we see the benefit from it. The world comes to ASEAN. You know, this is the principle of ASEAN centrality.
Yes.
This is about this region owning its own destiny.
Yes.
And you see, you know, the US come, you know, China comes, we come, the EU comes, Russia comes. You know, everybody comes to the ASEAN summits, and it's the convening power of ASEAN, the chance for, yes, the summit itself, but the conversations in the margins. That's where a lot of business gets done, and that doesn't always get picked up by the media either. But those conversations in the margins are where powerful leaders come together and form personal relationships.
I agree. ASEAN have the convening power. There's one thing that they have is a convening power, and like you said, most of the work are done in coffee break, in you know, on the margin, in the hallway, and that's why they call lobby in the lobby. But anyway, Dominic, James, like anything, it comes to an end. You know, we barely start the conversation, and already we are at the end. So I want to say thank you for you taking the time, both of you, to come and have a nice dialogue. Basically, there's no right or wrong, but it's how we see a certain issue, and Cambodia UK relation is very privileged, it's very important, and we count on this partnership for many years to come, particularly as we try to strive toward achieving our goal of Cambodia Vision 2050. Yeah.
Well, Your Excellency, just to say a huge thank you for having us to talk to you. And I said when I got here that what I really wanted to achieve in my time as ambassador here is to have a positive impact on the Cambodian people. And I think the economic and trading relationship is one of the most important ways we do that. I've got 2 years left as ambassador, so I would like your viewers to judge how successful I am by the end of that next 2-year period. And I hope and I feel confident we'll have a lot more exciting things that we can share in that time.
No, for me it's very simple. I hope they extend you a second term. But anyway, so, well, you know, we're coming to the end of the program, and I want to maybe summarize a few things that I want the audience to remember that UK is a privileged partner. Don't forget their education is one of the best, okay, whether here or in UK. So stick with that. UK can also help a lot of particularly SME who hope to look at the to develop good product to export to the UK. It's a high-end product standard. So if you can meet the UK market, you can meet other market much easier. But ultimately, it's all about the partnership that Cambodia and UK have worked together, and I'm so pleased to hear that UK ambassador mentioned that we, Cambodia and UK, now have arrived at a point that we are equal partner, which is something that in less than one generation, looking back to 93, now it's about 30 years, we're able to move from a post-war poverty-stricken country to a position where you hear that statement is bring warm to my heart. Yeah. So on that note, I want to say thank you, Dominic.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure.